We've just begun. I came up with the idea to do another Star Wars parody back in November, early November. And I'd already done one in 1999, and it got a decent amount of hits and attention to the website. And I swore I would never do another one, because that one just took too long to do. Of course, it was very unscripted and unplanned, and I think it shows. But cut to 6 years later, and I was wanting to bring some hits back to the site because I've been doing a lot more smaller personal projects, and hits have kind of started to wane. So that, on top of wanting to learn how to do green screen work, prompted this project. So while I was doing research on green screen, which I quickly learned that the DV format, simply because of its compression ratio alone, is not the format to go with for doing green screen work. Finally, I found some software that kind of has caught up to the drawbacks of DV, and ended up using Adobe After Effects. It comes with a program called Keylight, and DV Matte Pro.
In between us getting the script ready and the props ready, just the pre-production phase, every spare moment he had was spent fiddling around with the controls in this program and trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. We shot a lot of test footage.
I think we had 5 rounds of tests.
Gotta stretch, Obi-Wan. I don't want to pull anything.
The only thing that wasn't shot in front of a green screen was the EPT scene, where you see him actually getting urinated on.
The green screen, very, very trying. It was fun though. I mean, it was a really good experience. It was something, I've only ever seen done by professionals in theaters or, on TV. So it was fun to be a part of that, and to actually get to experience how that's done, and to see myself now in front of a background. It's like, hey, that was just a green screen a second ago.
When I saw the complete film for the first time, I was kind of amazed, but because I didn't realize exactly how everything was going to be put together. I get up there and start trying to act with no other actors in the scene with me, which there were supposed to be other actors in the scene, but nobody there. And as I'm trying to say the lines and look in different directions and see characters that are not actually there. So when they said, okay, I want you to, the droid's fixing to come across, and you got to look, no, you need to look a little faster than that. He's actually come out quicker, and that kind of stuff. That was new because I wasn't expecting to have to do that sort of thing.
I'd seen a lot of the footage before Todd got a hold of it. You can kind of envision, because you've seen green screen stuff before and you know what it ultimately looks like, but you don't think that it's going to look quite as good until it's it's all said and done. And I was very impressed with the way some of the shots came out.
Anthony Washington, who played Mace Windu, has a studio because he's a painter, and he's got this huge space, and he was very gracious, as I knew he would be.
It was just strange. I was a lot more involved with Glitch in the Matrix. I think that was like a daily conference call, and this was like, hey, I'm coming over. You aren't going to be there, are you? It was a different kind of involvement. I lent my electricity bill.
We used all of his electricity. I stumbled upon sci-fi 3D theforce.net, and amazingly, a lot of talented people have spent their time creating a lot of these environments in the Star Wars universe, and you can download them and manipulate a camera in 3D space using like Lightwave or 3D Studio Max. So not only was I trying to research green screen, but I was also trying to research the compositing software to make that possible. And then to add to my list, I had to learn how to use 3D Studio Max.
We were able to shoot our footage, and then he was able to match the virtual camera inside this 3D environment to sort of the angle that the actual footage was shot at.
When I did see the green screen removed in a lot of these special effects or these environments placed behind them, it did definitely make a difference, and I think everyone got a lot more excited about it than they were.
I look at the final product and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of nerd work involved. I had nothing to do with that, you know. I'm like, wow, that does look good, you know.
We had to figure out how to do Yoda, and obviously that wasn't going to be CG by any means, and Jar Jar. So we kind of had the same problem for both of them. So I started doing some research on the internet and found a few masks.
It was really a challenge converting this mask into a puppet, because obviously, yeah, it's big enough so that it goes on a full-size person's head, and of course, it wasn't made to be a puppet. So when it came to actually working your hand in it, making the mouth move, there was a lot of problems, inherent to it that needed to be solved. It was the size of a human torso before it was over with, and so trying to get that into a position where you could hold in front of the camera and work it, it wasn't like putting your hand in a puppet.
Yoda is green, and we needed to shoot him against a blue screen, so I had to order another smaller blue screen just for his shots.
Always shit.
Jar Jar Binks was more complicated than, I would say, than Yoda. That night, when we shot that, many times we were just kind of stuck in a very pensive state, trying to figure this one out.
Trying to build a puppet out of this shit is not gonna work.
It was another one that I ordered off the internet, and it was huge. It was larger than a human's head.
It's larger than a human's head. It flopped all around. There was no support for the face. It looked like hell, really. The big problem with it was that we wanted to have the mouth be able to move when he spoke.
But his neck ends right here, so then we had to figure out, what we were going to do to hide the hand, but then on top of that, there was no support system for his shoulders or anything. You really needed a person in there to fill it out.
We ended up kind of doing a hybrid human puppet thing.
The script in and of itself kind of dictated that we needed some prosthetics.
Get right on that.
You're acting like this is the first time you've ever done this.
For free?
It is.
It is. We don't put that many bald
Okay, look.
caps on people.
I kind of put Sarah Beth Riles and Anthony Washington on makeup detail.
It was kind of an interesting process. I had some experience with that, doing, small theater productions, by no means Broadway, but, small theater productions and some college experience with theater, and, so I wasn't like totally unfamiliar with speared gum and prosthetics, but also I had the help of Sarah Beth Riles, who certainly knows how to use makeup and foundation far better than I, and together I think we did a really good job on that.
We had done a little looping previously, voiceover on A Glitch in the Matrix. I wasn't totally excited about doing a lot of voiceover, but this project kind of required it because we were in the same environment, the same room. And a lot of these lights, especially these fluorescent bulbs, were really buzzy. So we had to do more voiceover work on this than any other project. I had to make individual videos for each character. Like Padme's, I would get each clip that she had that we were going to use, put it 3 times in a row, and then get the next little sequence and make an entire video and bring that into Pro Tools and try to have them match what they did on set. That sounded better like that. But that was a good gulp. For the Emperor's voice, I rolled off a lot of the bottom end as far as EQ and then brought the pitch down a little bit to bring that weight back in. And for Jar Jar's, I kind of did the opposite. I kind of pitched him up a little bit, so it was even more ridiculous and heightened. The lightsabers. It's always kind of a staple element of most Star Wars fan films. We didn't want a lot. I don't know Eric didn't want a lot because he had to do them.
I had just had a little experience doing it before, and yeah, it was tedious, and I knew it was going to be tedious. What I didn't anticipate were all the problems that come with trying to do this on composited green screen footage. These lightsabers were done using Photoshop, which is not recommended, I think, by most people who do lightsabers. Everyone usually uses After Effects, which I, for some ridiculous reason, have never learned my way around in. But I knew how to do them in Photoshop, so I did them that way.
We never intended to do this as a special effects extravaganza.
I mean, look at the fights. There's nothing choreographed about it. It's not like we're trying to make a lightsaber movie.
So I mean, it served its purpose, and there were kind of staple elements that needed to be in there just to push the story forward. In writing the EPT scene, that was kind of the pivotal scene as far as really where are we going to take this type of humor? How vulgar will we allow ourselves to be? And throughout, and it's been talked about a lot, and some people find it offensive and some people don't, but it was really a tough decision to make, because do you really want to possibly alienate a large portion of your audience simply for one joke? But the problem was that it was so hilarious to us that it almost became not impossible, but near impossible to pass up that kind of joke. It was just so funny to us that it was just so ludicrous. And I've gotten into a couple of discussions about vulgarity and immaturity when it comes to that scene, and I can see their points, but at the same time, if it was vulgar for vulgar sake, then the entire trailer would have been completely different.
EBT. I had to drink a lot of water to get this scene done. I was excited about getting to be part of the most vulgar scene in this movie. It's a first for me. I've never peed on an electronic device before.
But when we were writing it, it became one of the props that we needed to create. We had to create a droid. It's a Prager's droid. It's a
it's a trash can with a salad bowl.
It's a trash can with a salad bowl is what it is. We'd get together whenever we had a lag, we were caught up on footage, or we were waiting on a customer, waiting on this. It was always like, we gotta make that droid. Ultimately, when we were done, we were pretty pleased with ourselves for the most ridiculous of things.
Maybe not proud, but pleased.
Not proud, but pleased. That sounds good. We knew from the onset that, as cliche as it was, that we had to kill Jar Jar.
There were some discussions about killing Jar Jar, which we knew would probably be an obvious joke, but a lot of people had done it, him being killed by lightsabers and various things. It just didn't seem right, so I thought it would be funny if, for some inexplicable reason, he was shot at from off-screen with blow darts.
And then he just kind of jumped from there and went crazy with it, and it turned into, then an axe flies out and it sticks in him and yada yada yada. And I'm like, well, I like the darts.
That's one of my favorite scenes, when he gets shot with the darts, because I think everyone will agree that that's like the worst CG character that has ever been made.
I think Todd's choice to keep it just with the darts, I think that was more than adequate.
I'm not particularly a fan of the new movies. I think on a technical level, a lot of it is just mind-boggling what they can do, and I respect that level. As far as George Lucas as a creator and a director, I respect him to the utmost, simply because he has done so much for the industry that is undeniable. Whether or not I care for his new movies, I can totally separate that.
I guess I respect them, for what they are, but I definitely prefer the old original trilogy.
As far as Star Wars new movies versus the old movies, I don't think that you can replace the old ones.
My interest in Star Wars has waned quite a bit over the last few years, and that's really saying something, because I was pretty much on board. I was a great admirer of the movies. It was a big part of my childhood.
But honestly, this is probably the wrong thing to say, but I was let down by the new Star Wars films.
Some of my favorite moments are just, him playing Anakin like this whiny little kid. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't like about the new movies is that this is the guy who grows up to be Darth Vader.
In doing this, we were kind of taking a jab at everything that sort of seemed ridiculous to us, that we're sitting in the theaters and we're going, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe in a Star Wars movie that just happened. Why is C-3PO saying that? You know, it seemed a lot.
Did he just say she was softer than sand?
You are softer than sand, my lady.
My anticipation of the prequels was pretty much out of control. Probably pretty unrealistic. You know, when The Phantom Menace was coming out, I didn't know what to do with myself. I think over time, it actually took me a little time to come to a more realistic critique of that movie.
In my opinion, the newer ones are probably a little overdone.
When you're from that mindset where you're not completely pleased with the new movies and you do have an affection for the old set, it's a little more cynical, a little more pointed, a little jaded, and I think that a lot of fans out there feel that way.
I'm totally amazed at how many people are actually watching this thing. I never thought that I would be in something that, you know, this many people would watch.
It was fun. It was a good experience. My first time ever in front of the camera.
We're very proud. We think it's just one big one.
It's all very fun. I would love to do this all the time, every aspect of it.
To me, it just shows like what you can do with a little ingenuity with the simplest things, and I look forward to Sequential Pictures having the money and the funds, plug people that want to donate, to having the money and the funds, because we don't get paid for this. You know, this is because we love to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, 1, 2, 3 into the foe. Darth Vader helping this motherfucker some more. Okay, dropping some lines like you ain't seen before. Shaking them booties like it's on the floor. Drop it down, motherfucker. So back up. Please, I'm coming through.
We had a great time, a great grueling time bringing this project to fruition, and we hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks for watching, and thanks for the positive response. Thanks. Stay tuned.
How do you feel, sir?
Man, those are like the worst. Those are like
Exhausted, very, very tired, but I think we got it, and it's awesome. Super ass.